This conference will now be recorded.
Our computer's sad. All right. Let's open the meeting of the August 22nd Ennis Town Commission meeting and work session with roll call of the council. Mr. Abernathy.
Here.
Mr. Way.
Here.
Hankins.
Here.
Palmerton.
Here.
And Hardy.
Here.
All right. If we could all please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. On to public comment on non-agenda items. Second call for public comment on non-agenda items. Last call for public comment on non-agenda items. Anything from online?
I have a question. And it's a concern. It's Ennis Street, West Ennis Street, that goes down to the high school.
Can, Mr. Abernathy, can you turn on her mic,
Yes.
please? Sorry.
Do I need to just push the button?
Yeah, until the,
Okay.
oh, it did light up.
Okay.
State your name.
Carol Smith. And I live on West Ennis Street. And I was thinking if it be in Ennis Street, that there should have something to do with the town and why it was named Ennis Street. With it going directly to the school and with people speeding up and down that road, I'm waiting for kids to get hit. I've seen kids jump from the road into my yard. And I'm concerned. I don't want to have to see something that I don't want to. And there's no signs telling the speed limit or anything. There's one way down at the school, but everybody already knows that because that's where the school buses and everything is. But when you get to D&D Tire and on down, they are racing. I had 3 cars racing up and down the road today, and they were going over 50 miles an hour. And that road does not need to have people going that fast. And up at the end where D&D Tire is, there's no speed signs. So that is my concern. Thank you.
We also have a question about having some issues with our sewer. I'm Molly Wilkinson. This is my husband, Chad. And We've been dealing with a contractor to either hook on to public utilities or replace our system. And today we became aware of the fact that we're actually in city limits, where we've been operating under the assumption that we're in the county. So unfortunately, the county won't let us touch our septic system until the city tells them that we're not able to hook on to public utilities. So we're just looking for an answer on whether or not we can do a new septic or if the city is going to pull utilities past our house.
What is your address?
It's 220 Slade Ave. Yeah, we have frontage on Ennis as well, so we could second Carol's complaints of the speeding traffic, unfortunately. So from what we're aware of as of today, there's a water line that runs down West Ennis, and the sewer stops in the alley about 600 feet east of us.
Between Ennis and Steppen Street, so
Yeah.
it's got another block and a half to be run up to Madison Ave, so.
So
Yeah.
the gentleman that our contractor was speaking with the city, said that if they ran it, they would run it from where it currently ends, which is at a residence, all the way up to Madison Ave. So we're looking to see if that's going to be done or if we can just get what we need from the town to let the county know.
You can't on public comment on non-agenda items. So as public comment on non-agenda items, well, it's your chance to comment on a non-agenda items. The council and the staff cannot respond during that time period.
Okay.
So that's why it's like we're not ignoring you. We're actually just allowed to listen at this point.
Give me a call. We can talk this out.
Okay.
That's an easy, but there's a lot of stuff going on.
Okay.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess our biggest.
Sorry, we're not. Who are you?
This is Erin Olson.
Oh, okay, great. So yeah,
She's in
our
charge
contractor's
of
been
our-
talking with you, and
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot
Me and
going
I are
on.
working on it.
So yeah.
We're trying to get this sorted out.
Okay.
Yeah, we just wanted,
Yeah, we're just trying not to have our septic back up into our basement.
we just wanted to get our thoughts, put our thoughts out there and make that
Yeah.
known, just so that we can do the right thing and be clear with everything. So yeah, just want to make sure we can rectify the issue. So, cool. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right. Try it now. Last call for public comment on non-agenda items. Seeing no other comments. Public comment on non-agenda closed. Moving on to scheduled matters. The contract for Forest Mandeville, our on-call planner, for a 1-year contract. I guess. Susie was not sure if she was going to be able to. She's come down with something. I think we used Forest for major site plan reviews that our zoning administrator feels outside is our current hub. And then planning board also uses Forest as well, sometimes depending on the project, if they feel that they need his consultation to help with answer questions during conditional use So those are the two major areas that we do that. And then in forests, well, in our zoning and our permits, we also put that professional and legal services are billed back if necessary, if it's necessary for the town to use those. So I guess that's to be considered in forest contract as well.
All right, 2 questions. Same price as last year?
No, it's an increase of $25 an hour.
And the budget for planning is 15,000. So is that the max that, like, there's no max on the contract?
No, there's not.
So should there be?
We didn't come close to using that amount for him.
Yeah, what was the actuals from last year? Do you know?
We'd have to go look at it.
I mean,
Did we exceed?
yeah, exceed it, close to
No,
it?
we did not exceed.
And not close to the number.
Thank you.
But with a potential $25 increase per hour, could we? At this point?
If it compares to last year?
Yes.
No.
Is there a motion on the table?
At this point.
Why such the big increase?
For discussion purposes, I'll move to approve Forest Mandeville on-call planner contract for 1 year.
Second.
So we didn't come close to the budget because it then is billed back. The vast majority of when he does a full staff report, that is billed back to the applicant for that staff review.
Okay.
So the items that the town then out of general fund and those planning board budgets is if he's asked for additional training, or I think we had Susie contacted him via for the last question. It was Bujo Avenue Lane. We had a citizen ask how it was platted and original, and so we had Forrest look at some of that to try and straighten out if the street signs were appropriate and some kinks in the North 40. But
How often does he come to town to do a report?
we haven't had him since the planning board came in,
I think so.
but he wasn't in person, was he?
Yes, he was here in person.
Yeah,
And
when the
other-
planning board was initially getting set up
Correct.
for training.
Every other time, which I think there's like 2 other times,
Mhm.
he's online. He tends to be online for just however long is needed.
Even Susie, like for a major site plan, can he do the majority of that online? Or
He does all of it online.
Yeah, he lives in Columbus, correct?
Correct.
Oh,
Will the planning board need more of his time this year? Do you foresee?
Probably so. Yes, I would say so.
Yeah.
I expect so. Not too much. I would probably be just a handful of hours just to look over stuff. But, yeah.
That 67 cents a mile could really add up if he's coming from Columbus.
Well,
That's the going
he would.
rate.
I'm sure he would
Well,
attend
right,
our
just-
meetings virtually because they're pretty short. I wouldn't expect him to drive all the way in here to attend one of our planning meetings necessarily.
Yeah, Craig, I think, did you attend the training with him? I think he's really super sharp. He's a state senator as well. So I think we're pretty lucky to have acquired his services personally.
Agree with that.
Me too. I think he's done good for them so far. So
Call-
any recollection, like $10,000 is what we used, or maybe 12, not even?
I can go grab mine. I can grab it quickly.
Okay.
Yes,
That
please.
would be great.
There's also been a slowdown in permits.
For now, but next year we could get bombarded too.
We're running out of room, aren't we?
Bombarded with what?
Like she said, permits have slowed down, but in the next 3 months, it could be 15 permits.
Possibly.
Let me say that building permits have just decreased, fence permits, small outbuildings and stuff. They're still staying consistent.
Yeah, we don't have enough water for much new building yet.
Corey, you think he's an asset here? You think he's a,
I absolutely do. Yeah, he's super passionate about government. Yeah, I think we're lucky to have him.
His
Who was the one
land
that we had
use
before?
before,
Forrest.
It was Forrest, but he was
contracted through Cushing Terrell.
So
He
he's
used to work for them. And that was on his own.
Who was the guy that had the
Alex for the county,
That
Oh,
was,
the county.
that was the.
That would be the one. I'm like, more milk.
and he was free. So
Man.
Nothing's
he was.
$858.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Call the question.
Agreed.
All right, Mr. Abernathy,
Hi.
Mr. Wade,
Aye.
I
motion carries. On to conditional use permit for Three Rivers Communication for the Comley edition. Would you guys like to talk about your project?
Sure. I'm here for it. Okay. Dylan Doan of Three Rivers Communications. Started here June 11th, 2001 with 4 employees. Now we're up to 9. We've spread out people. We moved to new buildings and we're still growing. The town's growing. We're getting more service orders, more connected facilities. We're growing our infrastructure and we just need more room for employees. So we purchased this land a couple of years ago and been slowly in the motion to try to get it put into, since it's right next to our warehouse. It was a vacant land with grass 5 feet tall and a 1952 building on it. We've been trying to clean it up, fenced it, killed all the grass, put some nice gravel in there. And we're just trying to make the next move to find some decent office space for our workers and try to build something nice that's good for the community. And we're building it for future possibilities of hiring customer service representatives. So we're building it for that. It's being built for offices for future hiring. Other than that, I don't really have a lot. That's where we're sitting. $1,850. Love sidewalks.
We're gonna have it paved up to the building, parking. We have to be ADA accessible, so it is gonna be paved. Where the parking area is, in front of the building, it will be paved. For our parking.
So will people be backing out onto Comley to exit the parking lot?
That would, yeah, because it'll park parallel, it won't be parallel parking, it'll be diagonal parking. Is the way they have it's set up.
And then you'll back onto Conley
Yeah.
and pick up.
Problematic.
Yeah, I don't know, like, yeah. Just because Conley does get kind of busy.
Right.
Probably is very busy.
And you might want to check out the parking lots. Just
Yeah.
there might be some,
There might
in our zoning, I think that reversing onto the street.
I think they started off with nose in, but then we went to parallel.
Did they go parallel?
They went to
on the
parallel.
last one? I
It's on the
didn't see
map.
fine.
It's on the sheet.
I didn't see a sheet.
Maybe you didn't get one.
In the.
That's what- yeah.
Under their application.
I don't know, it's hard
It's
to
hard
read
to tell
down
on
from
that
out.
one, Dylan.
Sorry.
Go further down.
But that'll all be
sorry, I
paved
was
up
not-
to the.
But would you have a sidewalk that was conducive?
We won't hear because that'll be,
When they back
this is
out.
gonna be.
Well, he said it's parallel parking now, so it's not.
This will be long.
Okay.
And then it'll go all the way down to the parking here.
Here, Corey. Oh, Susie
Probably won't
left
be an actual
these.
side.
These are the larger maps that you guys can
Know how
look at.
So it looks like it's
This is existing building, proposed building that will be
the
demoed.
business, the parking lot, they back out right there.
Yeah. Gravel.
Which it's,
Property line.
So the parking lot is in the
We
easement,
got bushes.
right? Isn't that easement from?
Bushes. No.
this is the easement here.
Mr. Abernathy, would you like to sum up the public hearing from the planning board?
Sure.
Yeah, actually technically this is.
Guys, Mr. Abernathy's gonna, this was held, a public hearing was held by the planning board initially. So they've, as a group, reviewed that to make recommendations. So I'll have,
That's correct. So on the 13th, we met with Three Rivers to go over the conditional use permit. We looked at the permit application, drawings that were provided. We had a number of questions, and noted a few things that that we felt were missing from the basically the checklist that's in section 11 of the town code, and that were not necessarily on the. There was the application, and then there was the drawing, and the drawing didn't carry all the information that is required by the town code. Nevertheless, the planning board recommended that approval, that they would recommend that the town commission approve the conditional use permit, but there were a number of observations. And so when it comes before the town commission for final approval, there's a number of items that I would, from speaking for the planning board, would like to see included in the documentation, in the final documentation package. And so what some of the observations we made during the meeting was that all the building setbacks are not clearly indicated on the drawing. There should be a clear vision zone on a corner lot, and that's not shown on the drawing. There should be an accessible route from the ADA parking space to the building. That's not shown in the site paving plan or on the drawing. And then the surface material, we understand is going to be either just asphalt or concrete, or a combination of both, for all the parking areas, including the ADA parking space, wasn't included on the site plan and drawing. So the planning board felt all those items would need to be addressed as contingencies for final approval.
Did the planning board let Three Rivers know of those, or it's just the first time they're hearing them?
No, they were discussed.
Okay.
But the at the end of the day or the end of the meeting, the recommendation by the planning board was to recommend approval of the CUP.
Can we recommend the approval of that with the conditions that the planning board has?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I would entertain that motion.
You made the motion? You just did?
Sure, I'll make that motion. I will approve of it with the conditions that the planning board has cited with findings of fact from the planning board, all the conditions that you have mentioned
Would you like me to
be
read,
addressed.
would you like me to read those off?
Yes, please.
Okay.
For the record.
So for the record, all building setbacks need to be clearly indicated on the drawing. A clear vision zone for the corner lot should be included on the drawing. An accessible route from the ADA parking space to the building, it should be shown on both the site paving plan and the drawing. And the surface material, combination of asphalt and concrete for all the parking areas, including the ADA parking space, needs to be included on the site paving plan and the drawing, and shown on the drawing.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
I do have one follow-up question. So did we switch from the angled parking to parallel parking?
I believe we thought that the city wanted nose in. Then Cushing Terrell drew this up and was working with Susie. So we were just more involved in the elaborate of what we wanted our office to be. We thought all of the ADA, the parking was handled between Susie and Cushing Terrell. So I can get, you guys get us a list of what you want. I can call Cushing Terrell, they'll redraw the plans and send it probably in a week.
Is
We'll get
that,
them on the plans.
is that ample parking? Like how many, is it gonna be
It'll-
customers can walk into this building or is it mostly just offices?
Just offices for now. It's a possibility that customers could come in someday, because right now we don't have a customer service rep even there. I mean, it's just more planning for the future on that piece of it. And the Three Rivers technicians and employees won't park out front there. They'll still park in the back or where our warehouse is.
Should there be a designated parking lot back there or does it matter?
That's,
We have a lot right across the street
Mm-hmm,
where most everyone parks around the warehouse.
okay.
and it's storage, and that, we have our, like in the back there, we have our big truck and our plows and stuff parked back there. So.
Okay.
Craig, so what I'm getting and what I read in the application is, yes, the setbacks are correct in the application, but just missing from the original map, correct?
They're not on the drawing.
Okay,
They're not.
but in the application, they're correct. That's what I'm getting.
Not, yes, they're correct. They're included in the application.
Sure.
Okay.
They're not on the drawing. The section of the zoning code says they need to be on the drawing.
Yeah, I spoke with Susie as well, and those were the only items. There's also a north arrow that needs to be on the map as well.
So that would be a fifth condition then too. Yeah. So the north arrow needs to be depicted on the drawing and on the site plan.
Did you want to add that, Corey?
Yes, is there not a motion on the floor? Is that
Mhm.
correct?
There is, yeah.
So do we need to vote it down and then make a new motion?
Oh, you
Correct.
can
Okay,
move
you
to
can
amend.
it.
Friendly amendment.
I move to amend the motion on the floor for Three Rivers to include a requirement on the map to have a north arrow
I'll second that.
and parallel parking.
And have you guys looked at the drawings of the whole thing,
Mhm.
the whole map, the whole package?
That package right
Because
there.
it shows the parking on the map that we brought over.
Other than the parking is not distinguished whether it's back in or back out or parallel.
On the maps I have, they are, but maybe they're, I don't know why they're different.
So this one, parking, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, yeah, that's different.
Oh, good.
Free and one handicapped. I don't like that not a calmly though.
I don't
Is there any
know.
reason they couldn't do the parking lot up there? Might just be picky.
No, I don't think so.
Especially with if in the future there are offices in there.
The only thing, this is currently being used as this is your storage yard. You guys,
Yep, just our cable yard, yep.
you're storing stuff in behind the building.
Are you storing stuff over here?
And that building is being tore down, the old one.
Oh,
Yeah, that old building is gonna go away.
oh, and there's more parking down there. Is there any reason you can't just put a parking lot like to the rear of the building or to the south of the building? Where you're tearing down that building?
Yeah, it's, right now it's just storage. We're just trying to find out what, where parking will need to be for future. So that's why they went on that route.
And I
Is
think
there,
the 88 parking spot, I think we're one next to the door probably.
Mm-hmm.
and I could be very wrong in the zoning part, maybe it's just the T&D that zoning's in the front, or am I thinking something else?
As of right now, we'll have 2 people in. If the building was there tomorrow, we have enough people that we're putting 2 people in that building. So for zoning, what is that? 3 or 4 parking spots per employee? So I think that's why they only probably put 8 on there.
I'm comfortable with the planning board's recommendation and the amendments to the motion.
I don't know, how do you feel? I honestly don't like the backing up on the calmly.
Well, he amended it so it's parallel parking. All right,
He
was
did.
that any motion for you?
Yes.
Okay, it was. Okay,
I feel better about
I need to. Okay. Call the question.
Mr. Way?
All right,
Ms. Hankins?
Aye.
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 All right, gents.
All right, thank you guys.
Touch base with Susie Monday and we'll get,
Yeah, but we'll get our.
Bring it big one. If you want a soft copy, we can email it to everybody.
that would be
A
great.
small package. I thought we brought over like a 18 or like 4 foot by 3 foot.
Oh, you just wanted to like take up my entire frame there.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys.
All right, crew, now on to the school resource officer contract. So, it went before the school board and the school board did in fact sign it. It is before the council for their vote. on whether or not to pursue a one-year contract with the school.
It's already been signed, so it's not.
It's
But
already-
if it's not within, but without your approval, then it's not an official document.
Why was it even
It's-
signed?
I believe that by signing that document, we violated 3.02 subsection I, H, little I, thereby triggering 3.01 subsection 5B2I of the town code. The execution of contracts is only supposed to happen after the approval of the commission in 16.7 powers and duties of the commission, approve all contracts. This contract has already been executed prior to us getting it against the counsel of several commissioners sitting here at this table who asked for it before it was executed. The contract's already executed. Mr. Moore is already working at the school. That's an executed contract in my opinion. So again, I think by doing that, it's violated 3.02, the powers and duties of the mayor, H, little I, execute bonds, notes, and contracts and written obligations of the commission subject to approval of the commission. And by doing that, it forces the hand of 3.01, mayor forfeits office if B5B2 little I violates any express prohibition of this charter.
Correct.
That's what I think.
I agree as well. So you may make that motion.
Made that motion.
I second.
Discussion.
Yeah, I guess I agree as well. There has been a, basically we're moving forward and we're not following process at this point, and it's clearly the way it's written out in our code book. So.
Further discussion? Public comment? Yes.
It's David Madison with the Madisonian. Commissioner, Councilmember Way, you said the mayor vacates office. What is that a reference to?
Mayor forfeits office. 3.01. I can show you the town code if you want.
Okay.
Verbatim.
And just so I think I know what's going on here. So school year came around, time for a resource officer. A contract was executed to assign Chief Moore those duties, but it was done without council approval.
Correct.
According to the council. Okay, I'm covered.
This would be a Guzzo question, if it needs to be an agenda item for that, I guess. Where you call that meeting special, but you call it, you know what I mean?
It pertains
Uh, it-
directly to the school resource officer, and there is no discussion.
Okay.
going on there.
Please just hear me out. There was also violation by the council, and there was not a forfeiture in the previous year. And if you're going to do that, I think you should have it as an agenda item. And you can have Corey run the meeting to do it, and you can have that meeting and do the thing. What I'm saying is Conrad did this as a closed HR last year for their mayor and voted their mayor out in a closed session and then faced a huge lawsuit because there was no public notice of it done. So I'm just saying, in the interest of actually following public notice law, you probably want to notice that you're firing me. And that's fine. And I would say that you need to do that. That would be my advice to protect the town from suit as well. Ms. Smith.
Thank you. So I have a comment from Myron. He was not able to be here tonight. Good evening. Sorry, I'm not able to be present. My first inquiry would be who composed this document. My next inquiry is Attorney Greenbaum moonlighting under the table for the mayor? Sure reads like in this document. That being said, why is this document composed under the state of Montana regulations? I guess it has slipped the minds of those in position that of mayor was voted on by the citizens of the town of Ennis for the town of Ennis under this town charter. This document should be a contract between the community and the school district to be voted on by the elected town commission within the guidelines of the town charter underlining the town codes. This document gives the school district the full authority with a full-time resource officer, and the community takes full responsibility to finance the officer and all expenses. Now, I don't care if you're being a taxpayer in the community, this does not commute. The monetary value of $10,000 for the school district and the $200,000 budget for the community has wrong written all over it. The community would be covered by law enforcement a third of the time, with the luxury of spending the rest of the time at the school watching time pass. Only the taxpayers are on the losing end of this fiasco. The document expressed concerns of all kinds of possibilities for safety at the school district, but fails to address the safety of the citizens of the community, much less the safety of the students traveling to and from school. One more inquiry. Was the last part of the document an afterthought because it sounds like it? This document supposedly is based on the state of Montana regulations. To clarify, this is Ennis, Montana. With this town hall, the community has an established town of Ennis charter to be abided by. It seems some have lost vision of that and what this community stands for. The town commission was elected for a reason, and it was not to sit back in cheap seats and be run over by renegade annex. Obviously, if the town charter underlining the town codes are not followed by the powers that be, then the powers that be should resign from that duty.
Any other public comment? All right, council, would you like to set a date and just put it as that? It's my recommendation, but clearly that is not within. So, but do you see what I'm saying?
I do.
So, while motions can be made during it, I kind of feel like you should let Corey write an agenda for that item and put it there.
It's on the agenda. It's on the agenda. It doesn't say discussion and vote, but it's on the agenda.
And I had discussed with Commissioner Hardy my failures on agendas and said, would you please come in then Monday and preview them so that they are another set of eyes to make sure that they were correct.
And we need
But that's,
24 hours notice for an emergency meeting, correct?
Yes,
Correct.
24 hours posted.
yes,
Is that correct?
Correct.
yes.
Can you post something in 2 minutes, Ginger?
It's 7 o'clock. 6:59. And it says commission to
Tomorrow,
judge
7 o'clock.
175 up entitled to public hearing, a mayor charged with conduct and constituting grounds for forfeiture of their office shall be entitled to a public hearing on demand, and notice of such hearing shall be published in the manner consistent with state law. It is 24 hours.
Public hearing.
Yes.
What is public hearing defined as? Every public hearing we've done, we've published in the paper.
But this isn't a hearing. This
Is that what you
is an
said?
emergency meeting. This is not a hearing.
So does it say hearing or meeting in the town book?
This would, because it's not a hearing until it passes.
Right,
and
but
then-
I just wanted to know what it said in the writing, that's all. Commissioner Palmer, what does it say in the?
If
Entitled to public hearing.
entitled
It
to a
does
public
say
hearing
public
after it
hearing.
passes.
Right.
Yep. Today's Thursday. How quick can you get it posted, Ginger?
Whatever I need to. Well. Do you want it posted in all the places?
Can you print it out? And we only need it posted in 2 places, correct?
Right.
Yep.
Here in the library.
Here in the library. Is the library still open?
You can,
Post on the front door.
What do you want to do?
I don't know, in my mind, it's not making sense why we can't make the motion since it is, I mean, it's not.
We can, but we're on a gray line here. And I guess this would stay in black.
Okay, I'm behind you on that.
John, wait, can you please read 3.0? Violet, I'm writing your agenda real quick, so I can just send it to Ginger and it can be posted.
Let me find, give me a second. I have it marked. 3.01 qualifications, terms, election removal,
3.01,
filling vacancies in meetings. And it goes down in section 5A, the office of mayor shall, sorry, 5,
I'm just gonna.
5B. The
I
mayor
will,
shall forfeit his or her office if he, she
I'm just
loses
gonna
her
pull it off
eligibility, number one,
this website.
violates
Right on.
any express prohibition of this charter.
I'm just gonna pull it off the website and
Yeah.
paste it straight to it.
You just said 15 meetings.
Can we post it here straight away and do this tomorrow at 7:15? Commissioners?
Sure. I'm available.
And then in the
Yeah.
meantime, you have a motion and a second on the floor, so maybe you table it
I
for,
will table that motion till tomorrow.
Okay.
If we can get this posted and run down to the library in 13 minutes.
Anybody want to be a runner?
Would anybody volunteer to go post this for me?
Does he get to continue at the school until then, or is that null and void?
What's that?
Is this contract null and void?
We haven't
still?
voted on it yet.
Okay.
Will we ever know why it was handled like it was?
So Lisa, you said you would take it down?
Brittany's got a car, I'm on my bike.
Well, do we want to take a bathroom break and we can run it down?
I'm not in charge of the meeting.
so you would have to make a
10-minute
Or you
recess?
have to do it.
recess,
Yeah.
a motion for a recess.
I move that we recess for 10 minutes.
I second that motion.
Aye.
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 Ooh, I should just put the whole freaking thing and be done with it.
We could probably unplug this. I think it's charged up enough if you can't hurdle the.
Ginger, can I have your assistance in making sure that this, or how I'm going to write this?
It's just a bookmark.
Okay. Okay, so this is violation. So do I have to put the rest of them, or I can just put this part? Because that's what they're calling my
Just put whatever they are saying.
309, whatever.
I thought it was
Did you know about that?
3.01.
No.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Qualifications. Those are qualifications.
Okay.
Okay, so he's saying this part. Okay.
Okay, my life.
I don't know how to put it on there so that it's appropriately noticed. Because that's qualifications. There we go. Okay. There it is. Read this out.
Fancy over there? He's
Well, I
pacing.
think- I think.
Now I don't feel so bad. I thought it was just me. I'm sitting there going, I walk all the way around town. I'm sitting there going, I'm like, I can't sit still. I played pickleball this morning. I got up at 7:30 just to play pickleball.
Nice.
I'm like, let's have a little fun.
Correct.
Alright.
Corey, this is the thing that we discussed to make sure I did it right. Or John Way, you made the motion, so. That's
Yeah.
to get it like,
Look at this.
So, how long do we have to get it down there?
Change the time to 7.
well, in the date. I would just say 7:30 so that we know that
Yeah, that'd be great.
you have it posted correctly. 7:30 on August 23rd. For but we don't need all of it. It's the violation part that's important, correct?
Jigsaw puzzles down in there. I don't know. That's just something we're gonna have to look into.
Okay.
Yes, that we run into that website. That basically you said county, half, they like. Ours, I get it, it's half. What's that?
That's good.
I just don't see how, I think we were, this is for, don't know who they talk about. So it's gonna take some digging.
To post it online. Can you post it or should I?
Yeah, it only needs the 2 places,
Okay.
per resolution. They did that for the library and here at town hall.
Okay.
So the other was kind of cake, even though people thought that it was an absolute that you had to.
Do you have that so we can get posted?
What's that?
We just keep trying to get posted so we can let them. We need to run it down there.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get it out.
almost done.
One of us is gonna have to go.
Really? Is that,
I don't know, want me to go? They're on Kings Meeting.
you don't have,
I do, I have a vehicle, I can do it.
I was like, you drive, I'll run. I don't care.
Runner? Well, that's for the library.
Yeah, that one's for the library?
Right, don't I have to take it to the front door?
Oh.
Yes.
Brenda, can you get us into the closet?
Just use my ticket then.
Wrap it.
Just try wrapping it around. You want this?
Sure.
What? Oh, that's in 7. Commission to judge. Public hearing. Judge Brown's commission. Shall be the judge. That's the motion I just made. So once that passes, then the mayor will entitled to a public hearing. Okay? If this passes, then yes. Okay? The public hearing is being adjourned. So if this laid out.
Oh, yeah, well, you got this, I got this here, right?
Okay. Notice of such hearing shall be published in the. Yeah. No, this is an emergency meeting. If the motion passes, if this, correct. We're walking the great, so. We're still okay now. And so this meeting tomorrow is just, it'll start at 7:30 tomorrow, so we've got a little wiggle room, 24 hours to post it. Corey just went and posted that. So then the only thing on the agenda is this. And so if this is found to be judged by the commission, then this. Does that make sense? We can probably unplug it. If it's, oh, is it still plugged? Then just let me. Thank you.
Susie had it in her office.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. What's that? No, the motion's tabled right now. Okay, till tomorrow meeting. So the only motion left to do would be a vote on the school resource officer contract. And we table that as well. What's that? It's posted here.
Well, we got it done by 7:15.
7:30.
Did you run?
All right.
I already ran 4 miles.
So tabled.
Tabled.
Okay. On to topic, if you would like to decide what to do with the rest of the evening. Because I just opinion, but if you are to the point where that is your wish, it probably is then, I don't know why budget work session and the others need to continue.
Budget work session should have started a long time.
Doesn't matter. Here we are right now moving forward. What do you guys want to do? It's your decision.
Ultimately, yeah, I'd like to at least discuss budget stuff.
Great.
Yeah, I think we should.
Are you gonna vote on the SRO contract?
It's tabled.
That's still
Oh,
on the
that
table.
was table two, I'm sorry.
So did we table that? Well, before it's officially tabled, can I have you guys give me your update as to what you believe you would like to see? Can I hear that out? I said that I wanted an update from the two of you.
Mhm.
Is that still an option? I'd like to hear you guys out.
An update on the SRO contract?
Yes, thoughts, opinions. We don't have to, we can table it. I just want to know. I want to hear you out.
I think we've already tabled the SRO for tonight,
Okay,
so I think it's off the table at
Okay.
this point.
we can come back to it.
Yep.
All right, then moving on to unscheduled matters.
I didn't have anything to add.
All right, commission reports.
I'll go. So as we talked about on the 13th, we had our Three Rivers. As part of our planning board meeting, we went through the Three Rivers conditional use permit that you heard earlier. We also talked about the growth policy questionnaire. So far to date, we've received over 200 questionnaires back. And they're probably a little bit more than this since that was based on the 13th, back on the 13th, but they're about 80% compiled. So we're kind of condensing all the responses into just, single numbers based on the different questions that were in there. A lot of people included X's instead of when we asked to prioritize, 1, 2, 3, 4 type of thing. They just put X's on there. So those we're just throwing those out for the time being. So that part's wrapping up. The comments and stuff that were handwritten in, that's not really going to be part of the tabulation that we're doing. But we were talking back and forth about potentially putting those on the website, just as comments, maybe on the Facebook page for the planning board, people's comments. We're still kind of discussing that. So one of the next steps that we'll do is to publish the results of the questionnaires in the Madisonian. once we get that all compiled and wrapped up. And then all the final results, of course, will be in the growth policy update. The other thing we talked about was our RFP. We had a discussion about proceeding, putting that RFP together, how we're going to proceed to do that. And that RFP is for, as for anyone who doesn't know, is the growth policy update. It's also got lots of tables and graphs and, maps and all kinds of stuff in there on, population numbers and projections and so on. So our plan is to down select a company, basically, that's what they do is compile that type of information. So the final growth policy will be a combination of the planning board's input and then also this outside company that we select, which we haven't gotten that far yet, but in selection. But the other company, it'll be a combination of us and them to compile and publish the updated growth policy. So that's pretty much where we're at right now. I think Whit was handling or William was handling the RFP, and I think he was going to reach out to you and ask for some more. You're shaking your head, so I think you already did. That's good. And that's where we're at right now. Our next meeting is the second Tuesday of September, which is the 10th. So it'll be September 10, 6:15, right here, for anyone who wants to attend.
How are you setting for members currently?
Well, I haven't. I've heard some things. I haven't received anything formally.
I received the formal resignation of Leona sent back to the planning board.
Okay. So,
So
I don't
one
want to
member
say
short.
anything because I was just hearsay that I heard.
Correct.
Okay.
So that was going to be on the appointment and discussion. I had that in mind.
Okay.
So how many members does that bring you down to?
So we've 6, but I think for all intents and purposes, it's really 5. It's myself, Lyndon, Mark, Dave, and Whit, 5 of us. Jerry Rogue is also a member, but he's been absent quite a lot. So I'll reach out to him and see if he intends to continue on the planning board. But for all intents and purposes, going forward, it looks like it's the 5 of us right now.
Have you hit these 2 individuals up right here? They're
No, I haven't.
It's really thrilling, trust me.
All right. Anything else for commissioner comment?
That's all I had.
Mr. Way.
On the last 2 weeks, pickleball is continuing to be a driver in my world. Those guys are relentless on this, as they should be. So continuing conversations with them, hoping to get that site plan shortly and move forward with the pickleball, or not move forward, at least come to a decision on if we can move forward with this pickleball court thing. And spend some time here in the last 2 weeks with the SRO, meeting with a couple of school board members and trying to figure that out.
Commissioner Hankins.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, shoot.
So where does the pickleball club plan to put there?
It was our idea 4 or 5 months ago that this little plot of land up here
At the rodeo?
by the wellheads there.
Oh.
And we were waiting for a site plan estimate from Great West to see if they could fit there and all that.
I was just wondering, because like, I went to pickleball this morning. You weren't there.
I'm not a pickleballer, I'm a CrossFitter.
I should have asked you. Go for it, Nicole. Go. Commissioner Hankins.
Yeah, same, just trying to work on the SRO contract. Really didn't get anywhere with us, so, yeah, that's all I got.
I continue to reach out to community members. I've started asking just about anybody that walks into my restaurant to write down your opinion of what you want to see for the park down there. I don't think it's a priority, but I'm going to continue to work to get more input.
Got an update on that. I reached out to a landscape architect.
Mike.
My name is Lisa Roberts. I'm working with Brandy on Grandma Ennis's park, and I reached out to a landscape architect as he's worked in Ennis before. It's Wayne Freeman, and he said he would be happy to put just a few little designs together when he's on vacation or something, just as a favor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we can use him, we can not use him, but he had some ideas because he's worked on several pocket parks before.
Okay.
So we can just give him what we're kind of thinking. I kind of gave him the, it's only so big. It's only 4,300 square. So yeah. So yeah. So that's where that is. I said I would do that, and so I did. So that's where we're at.
Thank you. Commissioner Hardy.
Yeah, I guess I just got back from vacation, from riding my bike in Vancouver Island, Canada for 2 weeks. And now I'm back here in the middle of all of this. I guess just to make a comment on just how all of this like government stuff is absolutely a learning process, and I think all of us here learn something different. I think every single day that we're in attendance at a town meeting, if you sat here for the full 3.5 hours, it definitely is a little bit of commitment, but I've truly enjoyed it, and yeah, yes. But there's just a lot of ups and downs with this stuff. I've been here for 5.5 years now, and there are a lot of difficult times that you run into, and you don't know how to handle situations, and you always look to different people to answer those questions and steer us in the right direction. So, but yeah, I guess other than that, I don't have much else to add.
All right. So as to the planning board, where I've been on that is the evening of the last evening of meeting, Leona turned in her official resignation. I've gone through the draft RFPs with Whit. He needed additional financial information as to our matching funds and initial for the 819 grant. I'd had a meeting with the Department of Commerce because they need follow-up information. So we had to go back through our original budget and verify that that is still where it is. That is correct. Ginger took over the banking information and set up for that. The last document that they need to receive to get things in line is an updated timeline. And in that, they said, always finish out the last part of it. Give yourself 3 extra months from your actual end date, because that's what it takes to financially close their end of it. So no matter what you do, if you say you're going to finish in October of 25, put it out 3 months, because that's the amount of time it takes them to process all the financials. So I went back through the timeline, have that all drafted out and ready to send back to the Department of Commerce. And then it was, again, more budget. That's pretty much the highlights of it. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Are we gonna do the budget?
Well, Eric's
Yeah.
not here, right? So
Right.
what's the point of, if we can't ask?
I mean, if we adjourn, do we go into budget work session?
That's what it says on the agenda. So
Yes.
Alright, so I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Aye.
All right. Would the room like copies of, we have just for this section, revenues and expenditures?
It's not becoming close.
Yeah.
Is that what I understand?
No, it's
No, it's just a work session,
is
a budgetary work
completely
session.
Yeah, I'll do that. If we have a second, can I ask just a plain question? Why do we need a growth policy? Anyone want to, I mean, I have a notion, but I'm wondering what.
by the state.
How many copies? Raise your hand if you would like a revenue
It
expenditure
is,
sheet.
but it also
Two.
allows for, provides the public a chance to help it provide their own input as to what they would like to see the town do and grow and that sort of thing. So it's a document that is usually updated on a regular basis. Unfortunately, our last one was 2014. So lots changed since then. And we want to make it a point to really get the public's input. And
That's the September 10th meeting, I think you said?
yes,
Yeah.
that's the next one.
Is there a project out there or something that's in the works that the town needs to respond to with the policy? Or is it just the general pace of life and growth?
There's, I guess it would just be the general pace. There's nothing that is on hold or is waiting for the growth policy necessarily to come out before we can go into the next step.
Okay. Yeah, I know that, I just talked to the new mayor of Sheridan, the new old mayor of Sheridan. He said that if the council responded to the crossings development by trying to put it into zone content. But the way it's sequenced, it won't affect the project. It will actually stimulate it. It's just the zoning change. Anyway, so there's that happening as well. There's other towns that voted in too. There's,
Growth policy?
yeah, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you have a particular chapter of this that you're really interested in? Is there something in that policy that you're going to champion?
We just want, there's not, I mean, it covers a pretty wide range of things from, there's public input about, would you like, do you want to see more recreational area? Do you want to limit building? More crosswalks, more, it's all different kinds of stuff that it covers. So the purpose of the questionnaire was to try to, since it's such a broad range of stuff, is to try to narrow in and get a narrower focus that we can attack and prioritize.
I haven't
No.
seen them since the break.
No, that's, you mean the growth policy?
No, the questionnaire. You said it was going to go.
Oh, the questionnaire, well, the questionnaires were sent out, they were mailed out, they were included in the Madisonian. This was some time ago. a number of months ago. And so they were all, basically we've got them all back, or nearly so, or all the ones that all the returns are kind of, slowed down. So right now what we're doing is compiling them into something that we can then present to when we go outside for additional input and and help.
If this next meeting is like, hey, here's what you all saying, here's what we think we're hearing from you.
Yeah.
Here's your chance to say more.
Right, and then so the next meeting I hope to have that
No matter how tomorrow
compiled
goes,
list.
and especially if
And be
tomorrow
able
goes
to
the way I think
discuss
it will.
that. And then from there, we would have to make a decision. Is it ready to be provided to, what else we want to do before we provide it to the Madison, basically, and distribute it. Say, okay, everybody, we got all your responses back, and here's how it breaks down.
Okay, so this will go out for public comment through.
Well, it'll just, not necessarily for comment, but we would probably want to publish it in the paper and just say, hey, here's what all of your responses, boil down to, basically, just so for everyone's kind of information. But that's only the beginning.
If
The
you
next
want
step
guidance sheets
is to
do the thing.
start working on the growth policy
I have the ruler.
itself and updating that document with this information and updated, census information.
Did you need a hard
and so
copy?
on. There's a lot of things that changed.
I just made copies for the rest.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Yeah. That's.
Is that yours?
Sorry, I'm so bad at names, but yes. I'm pointing because they have.
I'm getting a hard copy so that I can hand it out to my so that they can do it.
What are we doing?
We're making hard copies of the expenditure and revenue for
For
water.
public. Okay. Okay. So what happened to Eric? Eric, take off.
Is the budget adjourned for next month?
What's that?
Are you guys doing the budget next month then?
Yeah, I mean, this is the
Well, we're
budget for the
hoping.
whole year we're working on right now. Yeah.
All right, yeah, I didn't know if you guys are gonna do the comment, with it or wait till next week. After this, you guys are just doing the work.
Yeah, we're in a work meeting right now.
Okay. Yeah, I know Eric was gonna tell his piece or whatnot.
I mean, I wish you were here to ask questions too.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, he is here.
Okay.
You just wait.
What I wrote, what those were. I mean, I don't know that anybody wants to see like weed whacker in my handwriting. No. I have 2 copies of revenue. Somewhere in
I've
my,
got revenue and expenditures.
oh, okay, I'm like, as long as I have both of them. I'm like, I had it all originally, so I don't know what happened next. And I only have, yes. All right. So probably best to begin with the revenues for this section of it. See how much are calculated. Eric, do you want to go through this or you want me to? Yeah. So water and wastewater, why do I only have one? Are both enterprise funds. So these are funds that are not supported by general fund, right? They're their own separate. So in that, the tax dollars don't go to this. Those accounts support themselves based on sales. So your revenues are basically from that, from what our metered water sales are. Water materials, it's kind of a reimbursement for the items that we sell, like fittings and whatnot. And then permits, is that include, I think part of that's the hookup fees as well. So those are basically your projected numbers based on last year's estimates.
Miscellaneous water.
That, well, there's the metered, so I would assume part of it is the bulk sales. Because the first line, 343021, is metered. So those are all the house ones. And then any additional bulk sales.
And your meters are gonna come under that miscellaneous.
The new meters that we've got the grant for?
No.
No one's on bought us a new one.
So why is the metered, why would metered sales go down? Is
When I
it
was-
projected at 270?
When I was taught, they said in revenues, budget low,
You don't know for sure. It's
because you don't know for sure, so you're better to come out with a little lower number.
Okay. And why is the sale of water materials so high?
Last year we budgeted 7,000, but we brought in 17,000.
So that's it.
so we're trying to be closer to accurate with ours.
That current budget is what
But
we
the year
budgeted.
before that, it was at 5, so that's where we had the 7. Do you see what I'm saying? So in 2023, we were about 6, so we guesstimated last year for it to be around 7. It ended up being 17, so now we're adjusting to 15. The revenues?
No. What are the sales of water materials? What are water materials, I guess is my question.
17.
I think that gets meters also.
I'm guessing it's meters, bulk
So are
water
meters
combined.
miscellaneous or meters in water materials?
That's what I'm gonna go pull.
And water permits, is that, for like new builds?
Yeah.
Tying in?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, can you just clarify, we are calculating the meters until we get the grant money?
Yeah, it's not included in the revenue. It's not included in the revenue.
That was really expensive expenditures.
Yes.
Can I ask a random question on kind of off topic? I mean, still on budget. The compensated absence, will you remind me, is that like PTO, whatever is accumulated? What is that? What's compensated absence?
Yes. So what's ever accumulated if you had to pay out if they left?
We did a resolution earlier this year to amend wages so we could hire somebody. Is that correct?
Yes.
I couldn't find that resolution.
I think sewer's more straightforward as far as revenues. Because you don't sell bulk sewer. You know what I mean?
We can.
I mean, you can.
I will.
But not
You
really.
have as much as you want. It's cheap too.
So the miscellaneous water actually comes from the UV billing. It's showing coming in as adjustments, so it's gonna be penalties.
Not the
that kind of
metered
thing, but
port.
you would have to look into the actual UV billing to see exactly. And the 024 is your meters, biggest portion meters.
So the 027 miscellaneous water is late fees
It,
and disconnect.
I think that's going to, play into that, but it comes right off of the utility billing software. But the bulk water is in there too.
Bulk water is also, I'm sorry, what?
It's 027.
In the miscellaneous water.
And there's not a huge amount in bulk water sales.
There's never been a lot. So any other questions on revenue for water? Okay. Sewer? Any questions there? That's a little more straightforward, like I said. Part of the monthly billing, so the sewer service charges, the permits for, so you have water and sewer when you hook up, and then miscellaneous sewer. Those were charged for not our line cleanouts, but additional help with cleaning out lines and stuff. As far as I understood. Okay. All right, Eric.
Okay, you just want me to go through this line by line? You guys see this, right? Okay. We're just basically, we didn't go over anywhere last year, so I just basically mirrored pretty much what's going on as last year. I mean, so
Well, like some of the adjustments were where we were close. Postage kind of snuck up on us in a lot of areas. I mean, all the way through the budget. So we
that snuck
adjusted.
up on us through the LCCR mailers or not. So we did bump that up.
Now, Eric, I know we talked about this the other day, that the salary went from 61 to 97 and it's projected at 103. Why? Are we hiring more people? Just
We calculated it at a full 4 staff.
okay.
I budget for 3 people plus me.
Okay.
And we are hiring people, yes. Monday, hopefully.
How many do you have now? plus you.
Just two. Just us two right now.
Oh, okay.
I have a question on the overall kind of big picture. Is that the revenue is 900 and, or projected to be 909,716,000, but the projected expenditures are $1.4 million. Is that a big project, or like even this year budgeted $1.4 million, but we spent $600,000? So was there a project that was planned but not done, or is there a project planned for this coming year?
The meters, a big one.
Sure.
The meters was 111, 15.
Yeah, but there's a discrepancy of about $500,000 between budget, between expenditures and revenue. Where does that come from?
This one doesn't show cash available,
Okay,
so that's where you're gonna make up the difference.
okay, but is there a big
That
project
much?
planned? Because in 2023, there was almost $1.5 million budgeted, and we spent $603,000. So there was.
Yes, because in the water this year, we have,
This is just sewer.
No, that's a grand total, so at the bottom, it includes
Right.
both water and
Oh.
sewer.
Right.
That includes water and sewer?
I believe so, yeah.
It does.
Wow.
no, you
No.
should have,
No.
there will be because your 5210 is going to be water, right? And it'll have a grand total on page 204. And then your grand total for sewer is 404. And yes, the answer is we're going to, the water system repairs will start. So the architectural plans for the well site and the tank site are part of that as well. But we didn't have exact numbers based on like if we're gonna have the grant cycle, but Great West said to advise to put them in there for use.
Is that what happened last year then? We were planning on that.
We were hoping that would go faster than it did.
So if I'm reading this right, so correct me if I'm wrong, because it's a big delta. Last year, the expenditures were 202, right? 603K. Total. I'm looking at totals.
Right.
And the
What?
projected going forward is 1.473 million. Is that right?
Right.
So that's almost $870,000 more than last year.
Why are those numbers not making
I'm-
sense to me? Right, budget now.
If I'm reading this right. I'm just looking at the
They
bottom
coming
line.
up with million. Because I'm seeing,
I'm looking at I guess the number 2 expenditure in water and sewer PDF. Is that what we're all looking at?
preliminary budget of 694,587 is the total. Is that right? Is that what you're?
Yeah, so the one I'm looking at, the PDF I'm looking at is expenditure Water and
Brandy,
sewer,
what?
it's the number 2.
You're
Like
the one that I
second one.
photocopied for you. Where are you looking?
Okay, so the one that he's looking at is page 404, sewer utility.
That was the one that was uploaded yesterday.
Yeah, it's different. This is, no, this one. You're saying 404, right?
Page 404.
There you go. Okay, so we're confusing it. I'm sorry at the moment. Which way, can we go through water first and then sewer? I was still on page 2
Oh,
of,
okay.
and it's going 690, and I'm
Sorry,
like,
I
where's
jumped-
the million coming from?
I jumped at the end.
So I was answering your question for water, not.
I was like, it was just sewer.
Gosh, sewer. And I'm like, where? No, it doesn't. All right.
I think what Craig's question is still on the table.
So back to your question. Where are we at?
So on the bottom line, water and sewer is what if I'm looking at the correct document. There's an $869,994 increase over last year, which is like more than twice what the last year budget was. So if I'm looking at it right, I'm just wondering
Are you
why.
looking at the very bottom line of both water and sewer? Okay, so the very last line on the report.
Okay, so the 1 million versus the 603?
Yes,
Okay, so
I'm probably getting way ahead of, but anyway.
and I guess you could always do a budget amendment to it, but the idea there was that we have our wastewater done to a point, right? Where we said this is our preliminary engineering report as far as we can go. We expect these hearings to finish up within this year, and then the new stipulations for the treatment and what we're allowed to do with the lagoon to change. So then that gave us the option to go into engineering phases on the lagoon.
And I think, Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there some anticipation or a concern about the liner in one of the cells at the lagoon?
Oh, we just drained it
that
and
we
it
might
finally
be
looked good.
facing?
There is. I mean, I'm actually gonna start planning on getting, the liner looked all right, but it's full of sludge enough, like a couple feet, one of those lagoons. So we're gonna have to remove sludge, dispose of it. It's gonna be a pretty big, huge undertaking. That was gonna be a winter planning project for the spring. I was anticipating some pairs on the liner. With that much sludge on the bottom, we couldn't see it all.
And who does the repairs on the liner? Is it, you had to call in a company?
Yeah, that plastic has to be welded with the machine. That's not something we can just glue together. I wish, but it's not.
So where is that spread out through the treatment and disposal? Or is there one line item that?
No, it's spread throughout. Most of it's, where is it? Like other purchase services and profession, where is it? So part of it's in the 390. And there should be.
The other one in 360 repairs it.
That's what I was thinking.
Yep.
Yes.
5,000 to 20,000, but still, that doesn't make up $800,000. But I guess last year was budgeted for 14.
So you do the 230, the 390, and the 360? $368, $50. What do you think the cost of it would be, Eric?
For what? For the lining?
Yeah. For the remove, like, to get all the sludge out and replace, repair.
I honestly couldn't tell you. I mean, that's something I've never had to tackle on. Are we?
So what is the 940 of sewer collection? So it's
That was the other one.
the sewer collection and transmission. How is that different from sewer treatment and disposal? So
Collection is line, treatment is the lagoons
okay, that
themselves.
makes sense. So what machinery is being projected to be purchased at $210,000 in for the line?
So you, in the last budget, we approved the jetter, the vac trailer.
That's where that is. It's carried over from the last budget was
Oh,
a jetter.
It wasn't purchased?
It wasn't
No, it
purchased.
wasn't. So we budgeted 80.
That was carried over.
Part of that, so we budgeted 80 for jetter, correct? The one, I'm actually glad we didn't. We found a used jetter and a backup pump for a reduced price that actually then gives the ability to purchase a 1-ton vehicle to actually move the equipment back and forth. Because we have a 1/2-ton vehicle and we move stuff across the VC Hill and we burned up a transmission last year to the tune of $7,000 moving. No, they were not purchased last year. The back trailer or the jetter.
So when are they being purchased?
Tomorrow I'm going to get the jetter.
Okay, perfect.
We are
at a quarter
currently
of the price that we budgeted.
Yeah, the jetter we picked up for 25, and we are definitely looking for a truck to pull it around, and an actual, like, the back trailer we got now is pretty small.
Yeah.
And it's this one I would like to get would actually be able to clean out a manhole in case we had a big problem. So
if you saved money, it was at 25.
The truck's the difference, because last year we budgeted 80.
Okay.
So if you take the 80 from,
So it's gonna be a truck of 130.
no, because the jetter, the back trailer's around 110, close to that.
Okay, 110, and then 25 is 135.
and then the pump seals and upgrade, just in case, we budgeted
New
5.
jetter, new
For that.
jetter heads for it to
That's what it was.
clean out.
Jetter heads.
Honestly, it just was pretty much the same as last year. I don't,
What was the same as last year?
this
The
budget
budget
this year.
items. We didn't buy any of the water sewer stuff that we'd planned on buying it. There's not the personnel to run it. It's kind of like, I don't know. You can go with it. If you build it, they will come, but
That and time came into a big issue with everything. Whatever.
and then we
But
also started, it's a month ago, we found a program called Sourcewell that satisfies all the bidding requirements for equipment. And it's like a giant cache of equipment, from generators to trucks, the whole shoot and match. So we're kind of hoping that we can get it reduced, but we don't know if we should have adjusted that into repairs. So kind of went that way in our thought process.
So you probably already said this, but I guess it's section or like account or whatever, 940 for machinery and repair. That's like $284,000 or $285,000 is for what exactly? Is that
A generator and a truck.
okay? That's what I thought.
And a back trailer.
In a back trailer.
Right. We've been on the phone with Sourcewell, and that's probably going to happen quicker than you like, just get the equipment in this town. Where are we at?
That's giving us
No.
our totals.
And I'm sorry, the wages are they calculated
With the 3% cost of, I guess I should say that. So the first year of us, I think we calculated at an 8%. Last year was at a 5%. And this year it's calculated at 3%, which was what it was before in the previous, generally before we started. I don't think you can actually ever match inflation with cost of living for wages, but still trying to keep it, I don't know. The two previous jumps, I was hoping it could keep it into all the staff being in the livable wage format. All right.
in one copy of the insurance, it's broken down, right, personal and liability? Or is that just in the overall
Did I miss putting the notes
expenditure?
in?
So in the overall, in the budget packet, it's broken down, but it's not.
Okay, so when you look on the first page, that first section of water, you go down to 510 insurance, it says liability underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the next section, you'll see the 510 says property.
Yes.
Yeah.
Liability, property, yep.
And it should be the same in sewer. First section has the liability.
And
I missed putting property behind the one in sewer. In the second section, the 430-630.
it's in the treatment and disposal.
Well, and there's actually two there. No, it's not. Sorry, I moved it down. Yes, it is moved down. Sorry.
Treatment and disposal.
The 510 there.
That's a blank line in the second one. So 430-640 has your property insurance in it.
Property.
Okay, and the other thing that we added in both of them, if you look, like there's the 3 stars in a row and a %, that's newly added lines that didn't exist before. So because I had this question because there's no telephone at water. We have a line at the lagoon, but
It's
these are
also
for
the cell phone.
it's the cell phones.
And
And we never broke it down before. like last year's, it was off kilter because each of the employees gets a reimbursement of $25. Remember when we do claims? So they're the two people's cell phones plus Eric's and split between the two departments. Does that make sense? Because I asked why we have new telephone and water. And then part of it is the landline at that's the only Three Rivers line we have is the lagoon itself, the hard line. Does that make sense? Okay.
Buildings, is your office completely done?
No,
No.
no, I haven't had time to get to it. I'm really looking at that as a fall bang along. I'm just, there's so much piled up right now that with the two of us and, you know, to keep the cost, I mean, we could get it done, but I was trying to keep the costs down and do a lot of the work ourselves.
What is, what do you have to do?
Yeah, what stage is it at right now?
It's a shell that's been delivered.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
With
Yeah,
a pad.
that's where it's at.
But it needs the electrical,
It's on the pad.
insulation, and the drywall.
We were gonna do the electric and insulation and hire out the drywall.
Who's gonna, yeah, I was gonna say, who's gonna do the electric?
You are?
Most of it, I do have a friend that's gonna come down from Helena and help me out, hook this up. Help me out. Yeah. He's actually coming this weekend just to, so we can go over it, see exactly what we need and get that stuff.
Is that part of professional services or something?
Or is that part of buildings?
Buildings.
Buildings.
We just budgeted the money that was left from what you budgeted last year.
Right.
All right. It feels like it's bouncing a little bit. So do we have any
Bouncing a lot.
corrections or additions, corrections to 43051 and its subsets? The first section of water, page 1 of 4. That's the administration section of it.
I guess I just have maybe one question, because that's a pretty big jump in the compensated absence, right? From 64 to 10.
No, you're right.
And that's calculated, Nikki, and then our software calculates that.
But how, I mean, that big of a jump? I mean,
If it's paid out in wages, is that
It's,
how
yeah,
it's
based-
calculated?
Yeah, it's based on what they're carrying in vacation and sick time.
you have one new hire within a year. And then.
Well, you had three last year for almost a year.
Right.
And, I mean, I can certainly take another look at it, because now that Eric's down to 2,
Uh-huh.
I mean, I can see what it was, but I was going off of figures at your end.
I do have a guy starting Monday.
Is that where the second one comes from?
No.
Is it-
It'll be.
Okay.
So, I mean, yeah, all of last year Eric had 2 employees plus himself.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it comes out of the payroll software. And you just use the figures from 6/24, from June of 24, whatever it gives you at that time.
Are you able to take like your vacation time?
Me, right now, no.
Is that- can I ask that?
I
Not right
wish.
now, but have you like at all this year been able to take?
No.
Well, the travel budget increased.
Is there, do we have anything in like set up, use it or lose it, or is it?
State law.
It goes to a certain minimum.
I didn't know you hadn't done it yet.
So it's just, it keeps accumulating and it never gets paid out like at year end or anything like that?
You mean vacation hours?
Yeah.
I'm under the impression it goes to a certain limit and stops, right?
Depending on how many years we've been there, policy says it should cap out and stop accruing at some point, but that would have to be done and stuff too,
I don't know.
but it's not.
I could be wrong.
They're being used every pay period, actually.
What is, I'm sorry, what's being used every period?
Some of the compensated absences, we're shortening hours, for during the day. So if there's not a full vacation time, at least the compensated absences are being used, every pay period when we can. And Eric's hasn't been able to with 2.
Right, so like if you get off early or take the afternoon off or something, that comes out of your compensated absence.
Yeah.
Instead of, okay. Okay. Still probably should look at that.
And there's the 4 guys, and part of Brenna's is also part of water administration, because the utility billing, it's a breakdown. It's not her entire wage. It's broken between, and yeah.
That's weird.
So it's 4 and 2/3.
4 and 2/3, but isn't Maria helping with that too?
That's the 4 and 2/3. It's all combined into that. We calculated for 4 plus utility at 2/3, and then moved more of Brenna's into administration, hoping that in the whole, we need to move Brenna more towards Ginger's and more administrative duties so that Ginger can start planning for retirement. More in administration for Brenna to take less off of Ginger so that she can get closer to her retirement.
So this has none of Ginger, Anna, Maria, and your 4 guys.
Correct.
No, I have a slight amount in water, so, but it's only like 5%.
Okay. And I don't,
Has that always been the case?
Yeah.
yeah,
Why
where the
isn't all-
budgets come out in different areas, it's hard to.
Yeah, why isn't it all just admin, like under administration kind of stuff?
There's only so much money in the general fund and so they can supplement
For the wages.
The question is, has there been a new position created for Maria? I was gonna ask that, I don't know if I can ask that, but.
So we're gonna get the whole view. And there was the idea that she worked part-time to assist where Eric's falling. He doesn't have enough time for all of it. We can't get enough people to fill all of that, so he's out in the field more and more. So help with the administration portion. She's the one that found Sourcewell. She's the one that's been doing all the lead service line inventory. She's the one that's been working on some of the 355 stuff. So it's
That should taper off though, right? Like the lead service line stuff, that activity and some of the
that will
other
be
stuff.
done.
If Eric is at full steam, say he gets a bunch of people next week, does that position go away?
Then he wouldn't need it.
Then he wouldn't need it, correct?
Correct.
But she's not a contract employee anymore, she's part-time. I understand Eric's need for additional help, but I don't. feel like once Brenna's fully trained, maybe she can help there. Or, I mean, I know cross training, there needs to be working on cross training. That's a huge thing.
The time really needs to be devoted so that Brenna's doing, so that we're fulfilling the second look of eyes on all the financials, that she is trained for payroll. Because if we're talking about compensated absences, Ginger's got too much and needs to go on vacation. Ginger is currently the only person that is doing payroll and has done payroll. It kind of comes to an emergency if she's sick, down this and that and the other. Like, it's, if you lose that position, you're.
I understand. I understand where you're coming from, and I agree with that. I'm just not sure that, especially with the need for it, especially considering the doors are still closed 2 days a week.
One,
1.5.
just one,
Just Fridays.
just Fridays.
So
I've
I
had people
understand.
come to me on Monday and say
Sorry.
they can't get it.
We were probably at lunch, but if we always have, it's always open Monday through Thursday. I can guarantee you I will be here. 10 to 4, correct, yes.
I understand Eric detail. Everybody can see that. And I understand if Maria is filling in so on some of the admin stuff for Eric's department while he's not up at full staff, that makes perfect sense to me. So Eric can be out fixing leaks and
Mowing lawns
Mowing lawn
and
fixing sewers and so they don't back up. I mean, all the important
She's
stuff-
already been just
all-
irreplaceable in that.
all the
That's
important
right.
stuff that he needs to do out in the field, and he's short-staffed, so I can understand that. I just, if he becomes at full staff and has all his people running around in the field, that still doesn't leave somebody targeted for doing the admin portion that she is doing for you at the moment, correct?
Right.
So are you looking at that as a temporary solution and you're going to reassess your needs in hiring, or are you looking at that as a more permanent solution?
Ginger, do you know when the last time we were fully staffed in Public Works was, with all four?
I'm sorry, I don't.
I've never seen it here, so.
I think Art, well, no.
And it's a hypothetical, I mean, a theoretical question.
Yeah. You know, if that was to happen, it would be great, but it's just, it doesn't happen, you know?
Explore ways of making that happen. Be more.
Corey's gonna have his little part in his budget for economic development, and there's a lot. I think the biggest problem is, like, right now, the county's starting wage is $45 an hour for a lot of positions. For the sanitarian, it's 45 an hour. That's what they ran it at. So, and if you look at entry level in Bozeman, it's about what Eric makes right now.
Yeah.
And you look at Big
entry
Sky,
level.
Well, I'm just
and
saying,
then you
I'm
look
just
at,
saying you have
and you look at.
resources available to you that could offset using, which could be, you know, upstairs, you could have that for someone who is on call. Housing is a big issue. If you're able to offer housing, that could be a huge, that's what I'm just saying is thinking outside the box besides just the resources that you have. I don't think this adding admin so someone can keep a part-time job is really the way to be doing it. Well, I think so. And I understand Eric has needs and there's a lot of paperwork to go. I know I would never want to do Eric's job. He needs all the support he can get, but there's way to become more efficient. in time. And if you're working 10 to 4 and you're taking an hour for lunch, that's
30 minutes.
okay. You take a half an hour for lunch, that's fine, but I'm happy that you're entitled, you are able to do that, but that leaves us at 5.5 hours times 4, so that's what, 22 hours a week.
They're functioning at 8 a.m. The whole idea behind that quiet for the first 2 hours is that so the training can be done uninterrupted, and that all the backlog stuff that we were behind on, that was supposed to be the 2-hour focus, was the backlogged and the training portion of each day. Because if you've been here all day, which Brittany's been here all day, if you actually sit here all day, multiple days, maybe if you had ADHD, I could do this job. So I don't know how they do it up front with back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. You start a project, you're interrupted. You start a project, you're interrupted. You start a project. So the whole idea was to give that quiet time so that you could actually train and actually get the cash reconciliation to the caught up stage. You could sit down and have the phone calls, schedule your phone calls for all your training. And with the Trevor, administration, during those time periods, that's when they're scheduled.
I feel like I remember Brittany saying that it's not, she didn't feel as though it was a full time, like she had time to, that she could focus on other things. Maybe I think I remember.
Your call.
And it's not a full
If
time.
that's what you want to do, however you want to do it.
How part-time is part very efficient? Eric? I mean,
Where are we at?
how part-time is her position? How many hours are you guaranteed, how many in the handbook, how many hours are part-time versus full-time?
We're at 20.
She's there 20 hours a week? But in the handbook, how many hours is part-time qualification?
I think that's a state thing.
By
isn't
law,
it?
it's 32.
Yeah.
When
Sounds
you
right.
hit 30 by law, it's now, you have to call that a full-time.
An FTE.
So anything below 30 hours would be part-time.
Does she have, I mean, I guess when she went from, I don't even remember how that happened. She was contract employee. And then she was put onto the wages, right?
Yes.
Did you hire that? Or like, were we advertising for help on it at that time?
Yes, for the deputy clerk position, yes.
For part?
You have 2 full-time and 2 part-time to run a library. And the rest of it's supposed to be run off of, no offense, but 2 full-time. But I guess I was trying to remove roadblocks for Eric, especially considering we have to look in an appraisal and selling of, or at least the process of selling the old lot in Pronghorn to afford the new, and we haven't even begun negotiating into the new property for the next well site. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not one thing. It's a stack. We vote on things and then don't understand the repercussions of what it takes to accomplish it.
Yeah, but there's a lot of times that Maria is sitting in this room for 3 hours on meetings that is wasted time. It doesn't mean 3 admin to sit.
She doesn't take minutes.
I know she doesn't take minutes. But, so I'm just saying, there were, yeah.
We did a training period with the minutes for the last 3, which is appropriate for somebody that hasn't. Isn't this your 3rd or is this your?
Well, this will be my 4th.
This will be the 4th. So we did 3 training meetings. I don't know if that's, again, I I guess. I thought it was, I thought a training period was appropriate for that.
I will say as a taxpayer, because I know the town clerk for the town of Stanford, she works for the county too, and it just seems like there's a lot of inefficiencies in the office and the admin that can be taken, and if you make people say, hey, okay, Eric, we'll give you X amount of hours per week instead of this open-ended, oh, we're just gonna put you and have designated tasks. It can be, streamlined better and make people more efficient. You have, I don't know where the rest of the budget is for, the accounting software is the best you can get.
It's also with Susie still being paid water and sewer because she was doing the billing, right?
When Brittany took over, Susie was no longer paid out of water and sewer. That position is paid out of water and sewer, not Susie's zoning. Zoning comes out of general fund.
Right.
So no, she's not selling it.
It would be helpful to have a breakdown so they know who's getting paid out of what.
That would be lovely.
You can ask for things ahead of time, guys. I'm pretty
sure. She has to start the budget in March. Last year, when we were sitting here, she said, we need to start the budget in March. And here we are in August. So don't say they should ask for things when you stonewall them all the time and then say it's their fault, because it's not.
All right. However you want to roll it. Pick your pick. Already know I'm not going to be part of this later. So whatever you want to do is whatever you want to do. Remember, at the end of the day, there are more Indians than there really are, chiefs than there are to accomplish what's going on. I would hope that as a council, you chose to remove roadblocks and assist them with the goals that you have set for them.
When they're not provided the information they need to make. Have they gotten a budget report? Have they gotten the things on a consistent basis? You chastise them all the time for not making decisions when they don't have the information available to them when it is requested over and over and over again.
The good news is my seat's going to be open and you can be the boss. Until then, this is the budget that I have prepared. I'm sorry I worked my ass on it all by myself with the help of staff. And at any point, you could have said, I'd like to see where we are with it. And again, staff turned stuff into me August 6th is when I got the change from the library. And it was not a little change. That meant that I had to go tear apart all of this all over again. And had I done it in March, we would have tore it apart all over again. This is literally probably the 18th version that we have put through. They happen constantly. We price things out. They don't happen overnight. You guys wanted IT priced out in the 11th hour. My first question is, somebody needs to pose the question as what constitutes a department to GUZA. So we figure out if it's a department or not a department. I don't care what your answer is, but you need to do some background check too. I can't do it all. You want it all, you get a resort tax, you get a city manager, and then you can tell them exactly what to do and how to do it. And you continue to violate your charter at the same time when you walk across the street and tell Eric what to do, when you call up and also tell John Moore what to do. So that's where it's at. I think this is officially at the non-productive stage. If you have changes, you can email them and we can go from there. If you want specific numbers broken down, please email Ginger and she will get them to you.
Does anybody else have any questions regarding budget?
I have a question. It's just a clarification. And sorry if you've already addressed this before, but professional services that shows up in a number of spots. Is there a,
Like, I have
what
to
is that?
hire somebody out, like, somebody to fix their status.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
Okay.
They were here last week, matter of fact, fix our tank. From the blowers getting installed, that's what we do. Those were rebuilt, installed.
Outside the contract when Great West was asked to come look at the pump.
Yeah, I did ask them to assess the condition and.
That's in the wastewater section at the lift station.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure it was able to take on what's headed this way, you know? It had 30 hours when I started. It's up to almost over 300 now.
Okay. Because it seemed to me that professional services and other purchase services, and then that other one that I asked you about for the vehicles, you know, like those things combined, the machinery and equipment were like really what was, you know, hitting the budget, I think the biggest overall.
Those are the biggest concerns, really. If you're gonna have a big fix or something like that, it's gonna be those.
The other idea that we'd had with those is you could always put it in capital improvement. But then once it's set there, if a repair happens that you can't, yeah. I mean, you can do it through a budget resolution. It's not the end of the world, but
Yeah.
then we found out afterwards we could have done a resolution for emergencies, like when we tapped into the water earlier, that's how it coulda, shoulda, would have been done. We declared an emergency with the park thing, but you can do that and then it gives you the financial ability to change bidding procedure for temporary, for emergency repairs. You just broke the water system. You need it up and now. You don't go through a full bidding process. There's actually code that Maria found on how you would do that in the future if something like that were to ever happen again. But this gives it the ability for that. But yes, that's in the learning things that we learned. What we should have done is when the water mains went, when we tapped into the water main. There's budgetary things that resolutions you can do to help the budget and audit. So you want a breakdown of all employees in there? And I mean, it's a work session. You can sure change things or whatever in your next one.
That would be nice.
Or do you want changes made now?
No, it would be nice to see what percentage or what amount was taken for each employee out of which department.
Okay. Then you're due. Perfect.
Is that not what the interfund operating?
Interfund or operating transfers out. So that's the water and sewers portion into the health insurance, and then the transfer into its own retirement, the transfer for Mad Towns portion, because you'll see those they're in administration in general fund, like that's where it comes out. The sewer pays into that portion of it. Does that make sense? It's water and sewer's responsibility for their portion of the bill for their own retirement and everything else, that we write the check out of a combined check in general fund. Same with, but to the other funds, the 5,000 is a split that we priced out for town hall. So you will see it split between water, sewer, and general funds to actually redo this section up here and repave it. We were trying to start picking little building improvements here and tackling them, whether it be like the parking this year, the painting next year. It feels really stupid for us to say you have to have this landscaping and this, that, and the other, and then we've got chipping, paint. I don't know. I find it to be somewhat hypocritical that we say what you can and cannot have in other places, and then the building here, the Connex was supposed to be painted far before we ever got here. I didn't figure that out until this year, that was one of the requirements of the Connex being there, was for that to be painted, and it wasn't. So we were trying to pick a project each year for this facility and do it. And that's the 5 out of water, the 5 out of sewer, and the other, that total on that paving project quoted out was $25,000 for resurfacing this front section.
With the Connex.
What?
What is the Connex?
The storage container, the shipping containers, I don't know what all you call them. So it's the giant orange one out back, was supposed to be painted to match when it was shipped in. Just those things, trying to get those caught up with the, we said we were gonna do it things, but so that's that last transfer out, and it's to other funds seemed weird, so we put explanation behind it. But you're only seeing part of the explanation because the rest of it's in the other budget. So it's a total of 25, 5 and 5 are coming out of water and sewer for that parking project. Anybody else have questions? Ginger, will you be able to get the breakdown to them tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay. Any others? Feel free to send them to Eric, Ginger, if they're more in the 43, the 510s.